Good morning, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here, getting a bit of a late start, and I'm going to blame the time change. So while I was having my coffee this morning, I was thinking, what are some kit models right off the shelf that you could maybe kit bash a little or pretty much build right out of the box, and they would go right at home on a Star Wars diorama? And of course, the first thing that popped in my mind was ITC's XF108 Rapier, one of my holy grail kits, but we all know you're not going to find one of those, and if you do, it's going to be expensive. Probably more expensive than I'd be willing to pay, but tell me that wouldn't look perfect in the background of a set from Star Wars. I mean, you could see that thing parked at Mos Eisley. And, of course, Aurora provided us with plenty of opportunities. There are a lot of models they made of aircraft that, although were conceptual, never really came to pass, like the Orbital Interceptor, but it definitely looks like something off of Star Wars. And their nuclear-powered bomber, which we know really wasn't, but they didn't know that. It has a Star Wars look. The XB-70 absolutely looks like you could park it behind Luke's X-Wing. And then, of course, the Ryan Vertijet. That's the kind of thing you expect to see land. The hatch pop open, and out comes Lando Calrissian. And aircraft like the F-7U Cutlass, I mean, you expect to see that flying in formation with X-Wings, while the Skyray flies top cover for the Y-Wings. And, of course, the B-58 Hustler was hacked up and kit bashed a lot to make science fiction aircraft and a lot of the Jerry Anderson stuff. And the CF-105 Arrow, I mean, that looks like the thing that should be charging down the trench run trying to lob a proton torpedo into the thermal exhaust port. I went ahead and included the Orion Space Shuttle, even though it's actually science fiction, and the Moon Bus, because, again, they look like they belong in that universe as well as the one they came from. And then, of course, the F-107 just looks cool. I'd probably kit bash it a little, but I could certainly see it parked next to some A-Wings. Revell had some pretty good offerings also, and a lot of their stuff, like from the age of the golden era of test flight, the X3 and the Douglas D558, they all look like the kind of thing that would be perfect in the background, like I say, over at someplace like Tatooine or something. And I looked at the F-102, which sort of has that look, and I saw all the support equipment that goes in that famous kit they made, and I'm thinking to myself, that if you put over the soundtrack of when the X-Wings and Y-Wings are getting ready to attack the Death Star, it has that vibe to it. And again, of course, the B-58. There's just a lot of aircraft, what they thought the B-2 was going to look like, and the Sukhoi, just all this stuff just has that Star Wars-esque feel to it. These things could easily be repainted and put on a diorama of Star Wars, and I think they pretty much fit right in. Some of them you want to kit bash a little, but tell me that little Focke-Wulf jet doesn't look like it should be, right beside the TIE fighters chasing X-Wings down the Death Star trench. So that got me to wondering, okay, which one of these models, or what model of an actual or proposed aircraft or spacecraft would you just, repaint, maybe kit bash a little if you were going to set it on a Star Wars diorama and just say, hey, you know what, it just fits? With me, it's the F-108 Rapier, although I got to admit the Cutlass is a pretty close second. And I don't think there's any bad choices here. I mean, the Victor Bomber looks so British that it just looks like it could belong so easily. Maybe go with some folding wings like the TIE Fighter solar cells. But this is just what, popped in my head. Oh, by the way, even though you probably never find an ITC F-108 Rapier kit intact for sale at an affordable price, there is a company I saw that had a new mold in 2022, so maybe I'll get one someday anyway. Anyway, this is just the kind of thing that I was thinking about this morning. I figured I'd toss together a short video before I go study, which is what I'll be doing today, is dedicated to studying, running a few errands, and probably doing a little bit of rigging on the Douglas World Cruisers. And that's my day. Heck, that's going to be my week. Study, study, study. Work to be done. But, so, what's your choice for a kit model of a real or proposed aircraft or vehicle that you would put on a Star Wars set as a piece of set dressing, or even actually one of the main vehicles? Just curious. Guys, take care of yourselves. Have a great day. And as always, model on.